Hey guys, 22 Plinkster here. I've got a little bit different pistol to show you guys today. This is anything and everything but a rimfire. This is the 7.5 FK BRNO. It's FK BRNO. Some people pronounce it BRNO. When I first received the firearm, I was calling it the Bruno. But if you're familiar with this handgun, they just recently started importing these firearms into the United States. This is the holy grail when it comes to modern pistols. This is the unicorn. I'm gonna go over some of the specs on it, but first, let's do some shooting. I've got a magazine loaded up here with 16 rounds of the 7.5. And this little cartridge packs a punch. All right, let's start close right here. All right. All right, let's go across the creek. That's a hit. Let's go out there at 60 yards. I shot right to the left of it. Hit it. All right, let's go out and see if we can tickle that 100-yard target. Oh, nailed it. First try. Nailed it again. All right, I am out. As you can tell, this handgun packs a punch. Now let's go over some of the specs on the FK BRNO. The 7.5 FK BRNO, where to begin? Now, there have been a few videos up here on YouTube talking about the FK. It's an amazing pistol. Before I go any further, if you're familiar with this handgun, let's talk about the pink elephant first. Let's get that out of the way. This pistol is extremely expensive, okay? And I'm not talking about expensive as in $1,500 like you would see a good 1911. No, we're talking upwards of $7,000 to $8,000, okay? I know a lot of you just probably fell out of your computer chair right about now after I named the price, but let me go over why this handgun is so expensive. Like I said before, they're only importing around 1,000 of these into the United States. This gun, for the most part, will not be, you know, on probably 99% of you guys' wish list. Well, we'll be on the wish list, but honestly, to obtain it, 99% of you will never obtain it just because one reason, they're only making 1,000 of them. Well, they're making more than 1,000, but they're only importing around 1,000 of them into the United States. The other part, you know, is the price. But it's a supply and demand. Not only is it a supply and demand issue, it's also a, you know, it's also a very, 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 very well-made pistol. I have never held a pistol in my hand that is any better made than this handgun. I can honestly say that. The slide on this thing is like it's on glass. You know, 2 fingers, I can rack the slide without a problem. There's some amazing features on this handgun that we need to go over, but the $7,000 to $8,000 price range is more so for collectors, okay? If they were importing, you know, 100,000 of these things into the United States, you know, the price would go down, but this is for collectors. It's no different than, you know, you spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a Winchester Model 70 Pre-64 with a low serial number. To certain people, especially gun collectors, this pistol really, really appeals to them. Like myself, I was a collector many, many years, probably 15 years before I even made my first YouTube video. So I've been an avid gun collector for a very, very long time, and I like the rare stuff. Especially the old rare stuff. And when I have a chance to, well, when Luxury Firearms asked me, you know, if I would like to get one of these pistols to do a review on, you know, my jaw about hit the ground because, like I said, this is one of my unicorn guns. Now that I have got the pink elephant out of the room, okay, we've talked about the price. Let's go over some of the features on this really, really cool handgun. All right, the first thing that you may notice on this handgun is the RMR. Okay, this is a Trijicon RMR. It's got a 3 MOA red dot, and it's got a special mount. I've been told that this is the only RMR mount for the FK in the United States as we speak. I have to send it back. I don't want to send the mount back, but I have to send the mount back. Hopefully later on they will import some more into the United States and I can put another one on here. But it's got the RMR Type 2 on here, but the pistol is actually shipped with the proprietary sight that FK puts on them called the butterfly sight. The butterfly sight is pretty cool by design. Now, what it will allow you to do is make a pinpoint shot, okay? You have to line up this very small front red bead right here on the front sight into the center circle. It's almost like a peep sight, but the windows are open on the left and right hand side. This will allow you to see if something comes into your to your sight picture, because if you're using a regular, like a 3-dot sighting system, you can't really see good in your peripheral vision, right or left. The butterfly sight will allow you to see everything. So if you have another target come in, or if you're using this for self-defense, if an innocent bystander walks through, you'll be able to see, the full field of view. This trigger is unlike any trigger that I've ever pulled before. It's kind of different, but once you get used to it, it's pretty nice. Now, it does have a breaking point. If you apply pressure to the trigger, it has some take up in it, okay? And it's kind of heavy. It feels probably around 5.5 pounds. And then you're going to come to a wall. Once you come to that wall, stop. So pretty much, it's almost like a set trigger. You've taken up the slack in that trigger. And once you get to that wall, the trigger breaks at about 3 to 3.5 pounds. It breaks very clean. So it has the front weight on the front of it to make it safe for like a field pistol, but you can also do some precision shooting with it if you master that take up on that trigger, let it come to the wall, and then if you touch off on that trigger after that, you will have a nice shot without pulling left or right. This is an all steel construction handgun. It is 9.5 inches and it weighs 46 ounces, so it's got some weight to it. But what sets the FK BRNO apart from a lot of other handguns is right down here, there is a special weighting system, okay? What this will allow to do, when you fire that shot, a weight and a spring comes back this way and moves forward after every shot. This takes a lot of recoil out of this handgun when shooting. Without this, you will feel a lot more recoil than you really should. Now, when designing this handgun, they wanted to keep the recoil around, a 45 ACP plus P. Shooting this handgun now 400 to 500 times, I can tell you that the recoil on it is equivalent to a 45 ACP. One of the first things that stands out on this pistol when you see it is this burnt orange grip. Okay, these grips here are aluminum and they have very, very fine checkering down both sides, and it has vertical lines right here on the rear. There's also horizontal lines right here in the front of the grip. And when you're shooting this handgun with the checkering on the side of these grips and also the vertical lines, these horizontal lines, the pistol feels very, very good in your hands. It does have an exaggerated trigger guard, and this will allow you to shoot this handgun with gloves on. Now that I've blabbed about this handgun for a little while, there's still a lot more features that we need to go over, but I want to do some more shooting. I got another magazine loaded up. Here we go. Make sure I got my ears in, because this handgun is loud. Almost shot that rimfire target. That would have been bad with this hand. And I'll explain why here in just a moment. Whoop, I missed. There we go. All right. Let's go out there at 100 yards again. Nailed it. Low left. Nailed it. Nailed it. All right, 60 yards. All right. This handgun will shoot. It's a fine shooter, but buddy, is it loud? And you know when you pulled the trigger. All right, let me take my ears out and let's go over what also makes this handgun different. Now, before this pistol right here was introduced, there were over 40 prototypes when developing this handgun. They wanted to make a handgun that basically would not be considered a sidearm. That's right, a pistol not considered a sidearm. In the right hands, this pistol is extremely accurate out to 100 yards and even 150 yards. Now, there have been some tests and a ransom rest that this pistol has to shoot within a 4x4 inch square. So the pistol will shoot extremely accurate, and you're pushing in the United States a 95 grain projectile at over 2,000 feet per second. Yeah, that's smoking. Since this handgun was developed to be a primary weapon also and not just a secondary weapon, you have basically the velocities of a small rifle, and you have the knockdown power or foot-pounds of energy at 100 yards close to a .44 Magnum. You have over 700 foot-pounds of energy at 100 yards, and most of your .44 Magnums are around 800. So I think it's about 50 to 60 foot-pounds off at 100 yards, you know, when talking about the foot-pounds compared to that of the .44 Magnum. There are 3 different kinds of ammunition that you can get for the FK. However, at this time, there's only one that you can get in the United States. That's this particular round. This is a 95 grain projectile, and it is all copper. There isn't any lead in this projectile. And like I mentioned before, it's traveling at over 2,000 feet per second. And what this projectile is designed to do is there are 2 serrations right here on the top of the hollow point, and it doesn't act really like a hollow point like you and I are familiar with, but these petals are designed to break away once they hit either something hard or soft tissue, and you are left with a solid copper core. And you know as well as I do, a solid copper core traveling at over 2,000 feet per second can do some serious damage, and not only that, the penetration factor of this little round is incredible. Another thing that I need to mention is the barrel. This is not your standard barrel that you would find in like a Glock 19 or another handgun that you may have. This barrel is treated just like a howitzer barrels are treated. It is a very, very, very hard barrel. If you would try to fire this round, this little high pressure round through a standard barrel and not treat it like this barrel, you'll basically have a grenade on your hands. There's no way that a standard barrel could withstand the pressures of this little round. Now, how long would these barrels be good? If you're shooting this handgun in match scenarios like competition, stuff like that, and the barrel's getting really, really, really hot, they say that the barrels are good for about 20,000 rounds. If you're shooting it under normal conditions, the barrels last about 30,000 rounds. So this barrel is going to last you a really, really long time. The magazine release is located right here on the left-hand side, just like John Moses Browning intended it to be. And like I mentioned before, every magazine has a 16 round capacity. They are double stacked. So basically, if you have a loaded mag and one in the chamber, you have 17 rounds of a lot of firepower. The safety is located right here on the left-hand side of the firearm. Simply press up for safe, press down to fire. Now that we went over more of the specs on this handgun, let's do a little bit more shooting. I put some shaving cream up down here. Let's go for the one here on the dueling tree first. Holy cow! That shaving cream can went about 40 feet over there. All right, let's go for the one right on top of that challenge target flipper. Oh, he's trying to get away from me. I shot low. Shot low again, I gotta aim higher. There we go. Wow, forgot I gotta aim a little bit higher at this distance. Oh, that's so awesome. Ouch, man. That 7.5 packs a punch. So my final thoughts on the FK BRNO 7.5. You know what? I've been reading about this handgun for a while, and I can honestly say it has lived up to the hype that I've read about it, and now that I've shot several hundred rounds through it, it's pretty awesome. You know, like I said at the beginning of this video, this handgun is out of reach to a lot of you guys. You know, not not only because of the price, but also because of the limited availability of this handgun. You know, Luxury Firearms was nice enough to send this to me to do a review on, and I tell you, it's a sweet shooter. I'm going to do a series of videos because Tim with the Military Arms channel did a video on the FK and showing what kind of penetrating capabilities the 7.5 has, you know, with level 3 body armor and things of that nature. I'm going to do my own redneck science videos on these guys. So put in the comments below, what do you want to see the FK try to go through? I'm definitely going to try bulletproof class. That is top of my list, but I need some really, really interesting ideas from you guys. But I think that's all I have to say. This FK is awesome. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. And until next time, y'all be safe and keep linking. I forgot to mention, when designing this handgun, they left the back part right here flat. The reason why the back of this handgun is flat is because it's actually designed to shoot with the Weaver stance. If you followed my channel long enough, you know I shoot both Weaver and isosceles, but the pistol for precision shooting was designed to either shoot one-handed or from a Weaver stance. I've got a playing card down here at 30 feet. Let's shoot this handgun on a Weaver stance. That's how I'm more comfortable shooting when I'm doing precision shooting. See if I can split a playing card with the FK. This may be the very first playing card ever split by an FK. Oh yeah, it's playing card worthy.